Blake Lively breaks down after Rihanna files $100 million beauty care lawsuit for stealing her concept.
Ooh.
I know that title's a little bit dramatic.
But little clickbaity.
It is a little clickbaity, but
Yeah.
it gives us a lot to unpack in terms of like celebrity feuds and brands and social media and all that.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting. I think it brings up this idea of public image, right?
Yeah.
And how fragile that can be, especially for celebrities in the age of social media. You know, it's this carefully constructed persona that they present to the world right through their actions and their statements, the way the media portrays them. And it can really make or break their career.
Absolutely. So let's unpack this whole thing, starting with this like alleged feud between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni.
Right.
The video claims that there was some project that went sour, and now like everybody's pointing fingers.
Yeah. And that's where things get murky, right? Because we have these conflicting narratives. You know, on one hand, there are claims that Lively made all these demands, like impossible demands. On the other hand, you have people saying that Baldoni wasn't really planning to fulfill his end of the agreement, you know? So it's very much a he said, she said situation. And you're kind of left wondering, like, what are the motivations behind all these leaks and accusations?
Right. And then adding fuel to the fire are all these rumors about like leaked private messages and heated phone calls and even threats being made. It's all very dramatic.
Oh, yeah. And that really highlights how even just the perception of, you know, bad behavior can be so damaging, regardless of whether these leaks are real or, you know, whether they've been manipulated or taken out of context. It has an immediate impact on public opinion and can be really hard to come back from.
Yeah. And then right in the middle of all this drama, Lively launches her own beauty brand.
Interesting.
And the video suggests that like maybe this is a strategic move. You know, maybe she's trying to shift the conversation or like reinvent her image as like this, you know, savvy businesswoman.
Yeah, launching a brand during a public controversy, that's a bold move for sure, intentional or not. It just adds another layer to this whole story. And it also brings us to another interesting point. The whole like comparisons between Lively's brand and Rihanna's Fenty Beauty line.
Yeah, critics are pointing out all these similarities in like the packaging and the marketing slogans and even some of the product names. And when you consider that Rihanna is known for fiercely defending her brand, this is where things could get really interesting.
Oh, absolutely. If Rihanna believes that Lively's brand is too similar to hers, she might argue that, you know, it infringes on her trademarks or copyrights, and we could be looking at a potential lawsuit, and it wouldn't be the first time that Rihanna's taken legal action to protect her brand.
Yeah, in this case, if it goes that far, could potentially set a precedent for how brands kind of navigate this whole like inspiration versus imitation thing, you know, especially in a digital world where trends spread so quickly.
Yeah, it brings up a lot of questions like how do you even define originality? Where's the line between being inspired by something and just straight up copying it? And these are really complicated issues, especially in an industry like beauty where aesthetics and trends are so important.
Right, and then of course the online world is adding its own layer of complexity here. The video talks about how like Team Blake and Team Justin have formed online with fans like fiercely defending their chosen side.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
It's just a reminder of how quickly social media can amplify a situation and really shape public perception.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, right? Social media can be amazing for, you know, building your brand, connecting with fans, but it also has this power to spread misinformation and negativity, and often with really serious consequences for those involved.
And it makes you wonder, right? Is this like authentic drama or is this like a carefully orchestrated publicity stunt? I mean, after all, any press is good press, right?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? The line between genuine controversy and manufactured drama can be so blurry, especially in the world of celebrity. But what we can say for sure is that this situation really shines a light on how public image brand strategy and social media are all intertwined in today's world.
Yeah, they're all connected.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about this feud, we've talked about the brands now. Let's zoom out a little bit and talk about like the bigger picture implications for like celebrity culture as a whole.
Okay.
What does this whole situation tell us about how celebrity and fame are changing in the digital age?
Well, I think one of the key things is that celebrities can't control the narrative as easily as they used to. You know, every move they make is scrutinized, dissected, amplified online. It makes you think about the pressure they must be under to manage their image in this world where everyone has a voice and an opinion.
Yeah, and this situation is even bigger than just Lively and Baldoni. The video mentions that like other people are getting dragged into this, like their publicists, their agents, even former friends. It seems like the ripples of a scandal like this can really spread far and wide.
Oh, absolutely. And it just underscores how interconnected the entertainment industry is. Careers And reputations are built on relationships and trust, and when that trust is broken or even perceived to be broken, the consequences can be really far-reaching. It's like they're always under a microscope.
Totally. And, Lively's beauty brand launch has actually sparked another layer of controversy here, this potential clash with Rihanna.
Right.
What I find interesting is that, Rihanna's been silent on this whole thing so far.
And that silence speaks volumes. Rihanna has built this whole empire on creativity and innovation, and if she believes that her brand has been infringed upon, you can bet that she's going to respond, and she's going to respond swiftly and decisively. I mean, she has a history of taking legal action to protect her intellectual property, and a lawsuit from her could have a huge impact on the entire beauty industry.
Oh yeah, her fans are already super vocal online, expressing their support and even calling for boycotts of Lively's brand.
Yeah.
And if Rihanna actually does decide to sue, this could be a landmark case. It could set a precedent for how brands navigate this whole tricky world of inspiration versus imitation.
It's true, and imagine if courts start ruling on whether, a shade of lipstick is too similar or a marketing slogan is too close to a competitor. So it could really have a chilling effect on creativity and innovation in the beauty industry and maybe even beyond.
Yeah, it really boils down to this fundamental question of what constitutes intellectual property in a world where ideas are constantly being shared and reinterpreted, and how do you actually protect your creations in this digital landscape where everything moves so fast?
It's such a gray area, legally and ethically. And this case, if it goes to court, could force us to really grapple with these complex questions in a very public way. And we can't forget about the financial stakes here either.
Oh, right. If lawsuits start flying, we're not just talking about hurt feelings and social media drama, but we're talking about massive legal fees, potential settlements, the possibility of serious financial losses for everyone involved.
Exactly. This situation really drives home the point that building and maintaining a brand, especially in a competitive industry like beauty, takes a lot more than just having a good product.
Yeah.
You need to be smart about intellectual property law. You got to understand the power of public perception, and you have to be prepared to navigate this unpredictable world of social media.
It's a whole other level of strategy.
Total.
So this whole thing is a reminder that we live in this era of unprecedented access and scrutiny. Information travels at lightning speed. Rumors can take on a life of their own. So how does celebrities even navigate this new landscape? How do they balance authenticity with image management, especially when every single move they make can be amplified and potentially even distorted online?
It's a constant balancing act, and the stakes are so much higher than they used to be. I mean, think about it. It's a world away from the days when a publicist could just, control a celebrity's image with a few carefully placed articles or interviews. Today with social media, everyone's a critic. Everyone's a commentator, a potential source of information, whether it's accurate or not.
It's like they're living in a glass house.
Yeah, exactly. Every move is on display and subject to this constant public dissection.
And it makes you realize that we as consumers of this content, we actually play a role in shaping this whole landscape. Every click, every comment we make contributes to the narrative. It's important to be mindful of the information we're consuming and the potential impact our own online behavior can have.
We have a responsibility here too.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
Yeah.
What are some key takeaways you hope listeners will glean from this deep dive?
I think it's crucial to view these stories through a critical lens. We need to develop our media literacy skills, question our sources, be wary of jumping to conclusions based solely on what we see online. And we got to remember, behind the headlines are real people with real lives, and the consequences of our actions, even online, can be very real.
Yeah, it's easy to forget that sometimes.
It is.
This particular story with this, mix of celebrity feuds and brand drama and the ever-present influence of social media, it's kind of a microcosm of what's happening in our culture as a whole.
Yeah.
Right? It's fast-paced, it's messy, and it demands a lot of critical thinking from all of us.
Totally. And ultimately, I hope this deep dive encourages listeners to be more discerning consumers of information, to think about the power dynamics at play, and to engage with the world around them with a bit more empathy and understanding.
It seems like we're constantly bombarded with these types of stories, like feuds and scandals and accusations all playing out on this very public stage. And it makes you wonder, what impact does this constant cycle of drama have on us as a society?
It's a good question. I mean, on one hand, it can be entertaining, right? It's like a way to escape from our own lives for a bit. But on the other hand, this constant exposure to negativity and conflict can also be desensitizing. We might start to see these types of behaviors as normal or even acceptable.
Yeah, and it raises questions about our own role in all of this, right? Are we as consumers of this content, are we actually contributing to the problem? Does our fascination with celebrity drama kind of fuel the fire?
It's complicated. There's a natural human curiosity about the lives of others, especially those in the public eye. And like the entertainment industry is literally built on this fascination. But I think it's important to be aware of the potential consequences. When we engage in gossip and speculation, we might be contributing to the spread of misinformation or even causing harm to those involved.
Yeah, it's like that old saying, right? If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Maybe we need to apply that to our online behavior as well.
I think that's a good rule of thumb, and it's also crucial to remember that celebrities are real people with real feelings, and the things we say and share online can have a real impact on their lives, their careers, their mental health.
So where do we go from here? How do we navigate this world of celebrity culture and social media without losing sight of our own values and ethics?
I think it starts with awareness, being conscious of the information we're consuming, the sources we're trusting, the potential impact of our own actions. It's about being critical thinkers, discerning consumers of media, and ultimately compassionate human beings.
That's a great point. We can choose to engage with this content in a way that's thoughtful and respectful. We can choose to focus on the positive aspects of celebrity culture, like their creative work, their philanthropic efforts, and we can choose to use our own online platforms to spread kindness and understanding rather than negativity and judgment.
Exactly. We have the power to shape the kind of online world we want to live in.
So to kind of wrap things up, this deep dive into the world of celebrity feuds and brand drama has really brought to light some important questions about public image, social media, and the choices we make as consumers of information. What final thoughts would you like to leave our listener with?
I would encourage the listener to really be mindful of the narratives they're consuming and the impact those narratives might be having. It's about finding a balance between enjoying the entertainment value of celebrity culture while remaining critical, compassionate, and informed.
Beautifully said. Remember, there's always more to the story than meets the eye. Stay curious, stay informed. And as always, thanks for joining us for another deep dive.